Good evening, everyone. Severe Other Team 9 meteorologist Nathan Judd joining you for this edition of Nate at 8. And today, featured some really chilly temperatures going through a lot of today, especially considering that wind chill that was into play as those temperatures were in the 40s. It felt even colder despite those highs nearing 50 degrees. For a lot of us throughout the day, it was more mid-lower 40s for that range of wind chill values. And as we look ahead, we're still dealing with that chill to the air for tomorrow, in addition to a lot of cloud cover and still some lingering showers. So a lot of what we saw for today can carry over into tomorrow. When we start to notice the changes is Thursday night into Friday. That's when we'll start to see some changes at that point going into the weekend. So of course, we're going to be breaking down some of those changes that we're going to see. And one of them, as coming up here as we highlight for this edition of Nate at 8, is going to be the temperatures trending just a little bit warmer. It's not a big warm up, a little bit warmer by the time we get into the weekends. We're going to be diving into these things coming up for this edition of Nate at 8. Thank you so much again, as always, for tuning in. Without further ado, let's jump into it. And you could say the biggest story we had for today obviously was pretty dreary and at times damp, right? We had some light rain, but certainly these temperatures, right? We have not dealt with this cool of some highs topping off right at 50 degrees, the Wheeling-Hodgkin Airport, since into the earlier part of April. So it's been some time since we had this cool of a day. And again, felt even colder when we factored in these breezy winds that were in place. Our temperatures right now for most locations are residing in the 40s. At this point, it's on a slow decline as we go throughout the day, as we go throughout the night. So these temperatures, which are already in the 40s, they're not going to drop a whole lot due to that cloud cover overnight, but eventually settling closer to that 40-degree mark. So really, it's a 5, some locations closer to 10 degrees of cooling. Those locations still in the upper 40s. So not a lot, gradually dropping those temperatures as we go through the night. Of course, again, the wind chills, well, as this breeze continues overnight, wind chills will still remain a factor. We're still with winds sustained around 10, at times closer to 20 miles per hour throughout the day. And this is how cold it feels right now. Yeah, we're talking about wind chills. Wind chills. It's something we haven't dived into for some time. And our wind chills right now into the lower 40s. That's how chilly it feels right now across the area. And as we start to look ahead into tomorrow morning, as temperatures themselves will fall in the lower 40s, here's how cold it's going to feel tomorrow morning. How about mid 30s? That's the wind chill for us tomorrow morning. And from there, wind chill values even likely closer to freezing by Friday morning. Notice what happens, though, by Friday into Saturday. Notice how the wind chill and the temperature pretty much on par with each other. That's evidence that that's when our winds are finally dying down. So we're still maintaining a breeze through Thursday into Thursday night, but by Friday, winds will die down and the wind chill will become much less of a factor from Friday going into the weekend. But here near term, certainly will still be a factor. And just like today, for a lot of Thursday, wind chills are anywhere from the 30s to 40s for most of the day, likely Thursday. And again, at the coldest, it'll feel closer to freezing as lows themselves fall in the 30s going into Friday morning. Patrick joining us from YouTube saying it's Priscilla. Happy hump day. Happy hump day to all of you tuning in halfway through the week. It was cold this morning, certainly. And again, this is just the beginning of some pretty cold temperatures coming our way, even colder for these morning lows. We're going to dive into that in a minute as well. Pretty impressive stretch here of some cold temperatures coming our way for this time of the year. I'm watching from Weirton. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. WT09 the best. Thank you for the kind words there. Steven saying go, Nate. Thank you so much. Appreciate it for tuning in. And Patrick saying in, Priscilla saying in from Weirton, West Virginia. Thank you all for tuning in. Austin, as always, hello. Good evening. Today was very chilly and windy. Still can't get over how windy October has been. I'm praying for calmer winds for November. And we can deal with some pretty breezy winds in general into these transitional seasons. Why? Well, a lot of times these wind speeds are feeding off of the different air masses. So, this time of the year, we're dealing with these transitional seasons where we can get these big fluctuation in temperatures while you're dealing with two very different air masses next to each other, right? So you're dealing with an area of warmer temperatures, an area of colder temperatures, and it's that difference, that gradient that can feed these winds. And that's why we typically deal with some pretty breezy conditions into this time of the year. Good evening, Joe. Thank you for tuning in. And Mike saying, love the cold, crisp air. Mike loving this weather. And Mike, I've got great news for you because what we saw was just a preview of what's to come as we go into the weekend. A little warmer, but these overnight lows get even colder. Joe, thank you for tuning in as always. So there's a look at radar. We had that more of a light rain earlier into the afternoon, tapering off, but again, we're not necessarily drying up. We still have some showers to contend with as we go through the night. It's just certainly not a washout. There's still some dry times to be had, and Futurecast illustrating there a few showers remaining in place overnight going into tomorrow as well. Still a lot of cloud cover. I don't think we're getting too much sun to break out. Maybe spotting at least a little bit of it. The best chance for that south by 70, but still just a lot of cloud cover for your Thursday. And those high temperatures can trend a little warmer with respect to today. We may get in the 50s a little bit, but not by much. It's not going to feel a whole lot warmer than what it was for today going into your Thursday. And while we do have some lingering showers still to contend with, again, not a wet day tomorrow. It's still mostly dry, right? Just some passing showers are possible, again, that are more hit or miss. Those will likely taper off Thursday night. And as we get into Friday morning, this is when we start to notice some changes. So at this point is when we start to see more clearing in our skies. And as you can see, as a result of that, these temperatures can fall in the 30s, likely more mid-upper 30s. I think that Futurecast is overdoing how much some locations are cooling. I don't foresee us dropping to freezing into Friday morning, but mid-upper 30s is likely more of the range. They think this is a little too aggressive in the clearing, but at least we do get some clearing in our skies, allowing temperatures to drop mid-upper 30s, and it's cold enough to wake up to some patchy frost for this Friday morning. And this is just marking a start of a series of cold mornings that will be in place as we go through the weekend and even into early next week. So we are back to more of a mix of sun and clouds Friday. This is when we start to spot likely more sunshine with respect to what we had for today and what we're likely to see for tomorrow. And the high temperatures will likely trend a bit warmer due to the fact that we're starting to spot a little more sunshine. So it'll be more mid 50s, maybe some upper 50s in the mix, trending a little warmer by Friday, and then eventually getting closer to 60 degrees for a high by the latter part of this weekend. So there's a little bit of a warm up, not by much, but we'll start to climb back closer to 60 degrees after tomorrow, likely by the time we get into Sunday. Sunday into Monday looks to be our series of some our warmer days coming our way. Now, these showers that remain in place, it's not delivering much when it comes to rainfall amounts. A trace to a tenth of an inch for some of us that do actually manage to see some of these showers that remain in place. And not much. These are some light showers, periodic, more scattered. We'll see some lingering as we extend throughout the night, as well as going through the course of tomorrow. And again, by Friday, it's more isolated. Most of us are going to be staying dry, just like what we've seen for today. A lot of this rain, and this continues as we go into tomorrow as well. A lot of it stays further north of us. Even notice near Youngstown, North Youngstown is where we'll start to spot even more of that likely precipitation. And that's more of where we deal with more of a washout, but certainly not for us. And still plenty of dry times to be had tonight going into tomorrow. Carol, Austin saying before we get there, can't wait for our first snowfall sighting. Austin says, can't wait for our first snowfall sighting. And I don't foresee any snowflakes in the forecast yet, but these temperatures, these low temperatures, they're certainly starting to trend cold enough that we could start to spot. If we had some precipitation linger at night, maybe at least a little bit of snow mixing in, but don't foresee anything right now looking ahead going into next week. So there's a look at our high temperatures again for tomorrow, likely similar with respect to today. Then notice a little bit of a warm up that follows Friday into the weekend. Highs are starting to climb back further in the 50s, closer to 60 degrees Sunday and into Monday. I think a bigger story here, these overnight lows, and we're not quite this cold tonight, but we look at this starting Friday night going into Tuesday of next week. We could string together 5 straight mornings with lows below 40 degrees. The last time this happened was the end of February and the beginning of March. That was the last time we had 5 or more days with lows below 40 degrees. And that stretch was 13 days. We're not getting that long of a stretch, but it's been some time since we've had this long of a stretch where we could see these lows fall below 40, mid upper 30s Friday going into Monday. upper 30s Tuesday. But I think all of those 3 days, we can see those lows into the 30s. The coldest likely being Saturday, Sunday. Those are more frosty mornings. The frost is going to be more widespread Saturday and Sunday morning, more patchy Friday and Monday, and more isolated if we do see some on Tuesday. But patchy frost Friday, Monday morning, and more widespread frost likely Saturday, Sunday morning. And some of us still holding out on turning on the furnace. It's going to be a little tough task. Going to be quite chilly in the house going here for over the next week. Yeah, there's not much warm up inside. Again, the warmest high near 60, and these overnight lows, and in the 30s. It's going to be tough. We're going to be waking up to some cold homes if you're still trying to hold out and turning on the furnace here. It's going to be a tough task. And I salute you, the cold weather warriors, holding out, turning on that furnace here as we extend over the next week. So to sum it up for you, 9 plus 1 day forecast, as we do look ahead, again, there's a few lingering showers in place for tomorrow. Not a washout, right? Still some dry times to be had, but it features a lot of the same as today. There's still a lot of cloud cover tomorrow. There's some lingering showers. It would be light. We still have the breeze in place. So it is chilly for a lot of the day. By Friday is when we'll start to notice some changes. More sunshine returns, just an isolated shower possible, so mainly dry. High temperatures start to trend a little bit warmer. By Saturday, we're getting closer to 60 degrees and very close by Sunday and into Monday of next week. That more mix of sun and clouds for Saturday, Sunday. So finally starting to spot more sunshine, some dry conditions. Overall, pretty pleasant, but certainly cool weekend ahead. And again, this is with our cold mornings for the weekend, those frosty mornings into Saturday, Sunday morning. By Monday, still looking dry. By Tuesday into Wednesday is when rain chances will pick back up. We can start to spot some more showers Wednesday, Thursday, and that can mark another cool down coming our way with those high temperatures back more lower 50s than for the latter part of next week. But as you can see, we'll get close to 60 Sunday and Monday. We may come up short of that 60-degree mark, though, here over the next 10 days, looking ahead towards the end of this month. So it's certainly going to be a pretty cool here into October. And the brewer in October is coming in full blast here right at the end of the month. That's for sure. And these overnight lows, it's quite chilly to cold. And even as we look over the next 10 days, like I mentioned, the stretch looks to be 5. We'll look to hold closer to 40, but certainly there is no real mild night ahead. These are all pretty cold. The warmest low forecasted is still only about 40 into the middle of next week. So we are getting more of a taste of temperatures more reflective of November than October here at the end of the month. So certainly be prepared. If you like the colder temperatures, you're going to love it, the forecast here. But if not, well, unfortunately, I can't deliver the news of another 80-degree day coming our way or any warmth. These are some cool temperatures at the warmest coming our way here likely over the next 10 days. Carol says, I'm watching. Thank you, Carol. Appreciate you for tuning in. When is the winter solstice? Christopher is asking. And the winter solstice for this year coming up on December 21st. The timing is 10:03 a.m. on Sunday, December 21st is the winter solstice, starting the official astronomical season there, the start of winter coming up later in December. Thanks for the update. Thank you there, Steve. Thanks for tuning in. And Love Day today. Well, thank you, Stephen. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, all of you, for tuning in. As always, I appreciate it. As always, a good time to bundle up, especially into these mornings over the next 10 days. Certainly going to be a series of some pretty cold mornings coming our way. Again, not quite in the 30s tomorrow morning, but it'll feel like it with that breeze. Those winds then die down into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, much lighter winds in place going into the weekend at that point. Wind chill's less of a factor, but of course the temperatures themselves getting cold in the morning at that point, and just a series of some cool afternoons will follow. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Hope everyone had a wonderful day. I hope you have a great day tomorrow. You can catch me coming up News 9 at 10 on Fox 9, News 9 tonight at 11 for the latest. Until then, I have a wonderful night. I'll see all of you tomorrow evening, next edition of Nate at 8. Have a good night.